In a new interview released this morning, you know who told Time magazine what he would do if he gets back in the White House. He's going to absolutely consider pardoning January 6th rioters.
Of course.
He's going to deploy the military to deport migrants.
And the Mexicans are going to pay for it.
Whoopi Goldberg has revealed something shocking about Trump that has everyone buzzing. She tore into his intentions for a second term like a bulldozer through a house of cards, not just criticizing him. You won't believe what she revealed about his plans to use the military and monitor women. But what precisely set Whoopi off like a 4th of July BBQ firecracker? You better buckle up, darling, because Trump has been brewing a scandal so big it would make a seasoned politician blush. Imagine this then. The Donald, looking stunning in his spray tan, takes a seat for an interview with Time magazine. Now you'd think he'd play it cool, right? Perhaps make some nebulous pledges to restore America's greatness or something similar. But nope, with ideas that would make George Orwell exclaim, "Whoa there, buddy, dial it back a notch." Our boy Trump charges ahead.
I mean, there's also, this is my favorite.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you before I say it that it enraged me. Yeah, that's what he said. You know, sir.
Oh, sir?
Yeah, sir. Nobody in your family was hung. There is a definite anti-white feeling in the country right now. Oh. Nobody in your family was chased because of the color of their skin. How dare you? There's no anti-white issue here.
What would be the first thing on Trump's agenda if he were to run for president again, allowing states to monitor the pregnancies of women? Yes, you did indeed hear that. Similar like a spooky hybrid of Big Brother and Handmaid's Tale. Who needs privacy when you can have the government all up in your lady business? Am I right? But there's still more. Trump also has grand ideas for all those annoying immigrants. And by big plans, I mean that he intends to use force against them. Nothing says land of the free quite like armed soldiers gathering up, folks, huh? He seems to be trying to top his own disastrous border wall project. Oh, and do you recall those honorable folks who chose to adorn the Capitol on January 6th? If Trump is elected again, he may grant pardons as if they were party favors. After all, what screams law and order like releasing rioters from their bonds? Folks, this is where things really go crazy.
This morning, you know who released a video where he claimed he was going to give his stance on abortion rights in America.
Roe v. Wade. It must be remembered that the Democrats are the radical ones on this position because they support abortion up to and even beyond.
Quite a bit in, much more than you're aware, but nobody's doing that. I'm not sure I understand. And you're bragging about this.
I was proudly the person responsible for the ending of something that all legal scholars, both sides, wanted and, in fact, demanded be ended.
In response to a question about whether he believes there would be political violence if he loses the next election, Trump was, well, Trump. To quote him, he said, "It depends. Depending on what? Regarding what? The climate, the moon's phase? Is the day going well for his hair? Hold on to your hats if you believe that was the icing on top of this chaotic dessert. Trump intends to use the office as a playground for himself. He is advocating for the executive branch to have greater centralized power, because he doesn't seem to find being president to be powerful enough. Let's now discuss Trump's position on abortion. He is a strong proponent of letting states make their own laws, which may entail, in Trumpinian parlance, "Yeah, sir, nobody in your family was hung," Whoopi says, staring directly at the camera with her eyes burning and her voice brimming with righteous rage. "Not a single member of your family was targeted due to the color of their skin. You are really daring. This is not an anti-white problem. Here, you're engaging in anti-humanist activities." Whoa, did you experience that?
50 years I've had this right. And here you've snatched this right out of my hands. You've taken my right as a woman.
Please vote for me.
Yes.
And put me in the White House and keep me out of Leavenworth.
Yes.
Because that is his... People have to remember this. He has no interest in any of you because he doesn't have any principles.
Right.
He doesn't believe in anything. God knows what he's done in his past, by the way.
That was the sound of a million tiny pieces breaking apart from Trump's ego. Whoopi did more than just disagree with him. She took his words, rolled them up, and threw them in the garbage. Shall we dissect this verbal sparring match? Firstly, take note of the fact fact that she begins, "Yes, sir." She sounds as though she is saying, "Listen up, you orange buffoon. You could spread the thick sarcasm on toast." She then goes straight for the kill. Nobody in your family was hung, hurt. Trump and all others are being reminded by Whoopi that his family has not experienced the horrifying acts of racial brutality that Black Americans have for ages. Trump's accusations of anti-white prejudice are as grounded in truth as his natural hair color, which is a sobering realization. Whoopi isn't done, though. Nobody in your family was chased because of the color of their skin, she says in response. One more knockout blow. She is drawing attention to the persistent racial injustices that people of color deal with on a daily basis, something that Trump and his family have obviously never dealt with and have never experienced. Then the last blow. How dare you? Just 3 words, but boy, do they have a big impact. Whoopi seems to be expressing the ire and exasperation of millions of Americans who are fed up with Trump's racial taunting. This is where Whoopi truly pulls the trigger, though. Not only does she refute Trump's allegation of anti-white attitude, but she completely changes the narrative. This is not an anti-white issue, she says.
He only wants to stay out of prison now. He's like Netanyahu has the same problem.
Yes, right? He's a morally bankrupt person, and I still don't understand the evangelicals getting behind him, people of faith getting behind him, women getting behind him. They want to be elected before he gets put in prison.
That's
so that's his main goal. That's his fundraising goal. That's everything.
And by the way, I believe that he's ran for president to make money.
You are perpetrating anti-humanist issues here. She has effectively exposed Trump's speech for what it is. Not only is it racist, but it is also essentially anti-human. What effect did Whoopi say? To put it mildly, it was like to revealing the truth in the middle of a BS conference. It's likely that those watching at home were cheering so loudly that their neighbors believed the Super Bowl was underway. Not only was it a brilliant moment on television, but it also served as a call to action for everyone who has ever wanted to tell Trump exactly where his anti-white garbage belongs. What's the best thing then? Whoopi's disgust was not unheard of. The whole panel of The View was standing right by her, unified in their "oh hell no" response to Trump's most recent verbal meltdown. The sardonic "oh please" from Joy Behar was the icing on top of this shutdown.
When a child sets a house on fire, you don't give them another book of matches.
Right.
He already was terrible as a president. Thousands and thousands of people died in COVID under his watch. So they better be careful what they want, because this is the generation that's going to lose their abortion rights and their voting rights. They're the ones to be worried, you know? And this type of protest that we talked about it yesterday, I think that will put Trump right back into the White House.
That's kind of how this was, except it was a group of intelligent, irate ladies on national TV instead of your pals at the bar. And they were tearing into the possible future of American democracy, not fighting over who owed whom a beer. You mean there's no pressure? Joy Behar was the first to take the stage, dishing out sarcasm so thick a knife could cut it. She essentially stated, "Hey, remember when this guy was president and a bunch of people died from COVID?" After looking over Trump's past. Yes, let us not repeat that. She seemed to be reminding everyone that restoring Trump to power would be like to appointing a pyromaniac to serve as a firefighter. But there's still more. When Sunny Hostin took the plate, she really went above and above.
I agree with Alyssa in the sense that everyone's been saying this is what he thinks, this is what he does, or will do rather. He said that his allies are laying the groundwork to restructure the presidency in line with the doctrine called the unitary executive theory. So anti-American. Our very framers were running away from that business model, right? They wanted to make sure, the founders, that there were 3 branches and that they had co-equal power.
She launched into a discussion about the unitary executive theory. I understand your thoughts at this point. Unitary executive what now? I got you, so don't worry. It's just a fancy way of expressing that Trump and his friends want to make themselves the center of attention while in the White House. Like a monarchy, just with worse hair, I guess. Sunny refused to accept it. Anti-American is how she described this idea more quickly than Trump could tweet "witch hunt" in all caps. She spoke extensively about the checks and balances that prevent our government from devolving into an uncontrollably dramatic reality TV program. Then there was Alyssa Farah Griffin, a former Trump employee. Yes, you did indeed hear that. She had first-hand knowledge of the circus, and believe me when I say that her portrayal was not flattering. She was concerned about the people Trump would appoint should he win re-election.
I don't recall that, but on other occasions he said stuff like that, but we shouldn't take him literally. No, the things he says we should take literally, and I've said this 1,000 times. The other day, Bill Barr, the former Attorney General, was asked about something I had stated, where Trump said that somebody should be executed because they leaked a bad story about him. There won't be guardrails next time. There won't be Mark Esper. There won't be John Kelly. There won't be Jim Mattis.
That article.
He says he's going to only hire loyalists and people who say that the last election is stolen.
She discussed how letting states make their own decisions might result in some really harsh legislation. This is crazy Life at Conception Act stuff. That is the kind of legislation that may outlaw abortion as soon as sperm and egg touch. It's as if they wish to affix a no trespassing placard to every American uterus. What specific comment made by Whoopi that had Trump go for the Pepto-Bismol? It all began, you might say, when the orange monster began to boast about his part in the Roe v. Wade decision being overturned. Talk about shoving the bear, or the Whoopi in this instance. With unending wisdom, Trump chose to congratulate himself on having put an end to something that all legal scholars, both sides, wanted. Yes, exact. In addition, I am England's queen. That one was quickly called out by Sonny Hostin, who asserted that all legal scholars do not agree with facts receive a score. Trump's alternate reality receives a 0.
If he is convicted in New York, that there are Republicans, there are Republican women, there are independents that will not vote for him. They said that he should be put under the jail if he gets convicted in New York. In New York matters, and that there are Americans out there that don't want to see a second Trump presidency and don't want to see a criminal in the White House.
Yeah.
This is where it gets really juicy, though. Whoopi attacked Trump with the rage of 1,000 wronged women, appearing as though she was going to exhale fire. She gave him this biting remark: "I've had this right for 50 years, and now you've taken it right out of my hands. You're boasting to me, taking away my ability to make decisions for myself as a woman, and you want my support? That must be more painful than a damaged combover during a windstorm." Whoopi wasn't just angry, she was advocating for all women who have ever considered their bodies to be political arenas. She was not holding back, believe me. Whoopi wasn't done, though. Oh no, she was just getting fired up. She continued by saying, "The whole idea of some man deciding what happens with my body is so abhorrent to me."
Talked about it over and over, many of the things. One thing that did jump out about this was abortion, women's reproductive health rights. You know, no matter how extreme the laws are, it won't be my problem. That's a state's thing. You know, I'm not going to deal with it. Included in its 2025 budget, the Life of Conception Act, which means at fertilization, it would become illegal to terminate that pregnancy. Because if this were to take place, which he's saying right now safely, I'm not going to handle it. The people doing money and navigating the GOP right now are ready to bring that to President Trump.
Sister, spread the word. She seemed to be channeling the wrath of all women who have ever had to defend themselves to a man when he doesn't get to control her uterus like a puppet. And Whoopi, being the class act that she is, then stated her position on abortion rights. "You are under no need to undergo an abortion. Abortion is not required of anyone. I hope no one ever has to have one, and you never have to," she remarked. And then she said this: "But if you find yourself in a position where you have to, I want to make sure that if you decide this is what you need to do, I'm going to get behind you because I don't know your life." The remainder of the panel at The View, meanwhile, was nodding so vigorously that it seemed like they were at a heavy metal concert. Never one to hold back, Joy Behar essentially referred President Trump as a lying liar who lies.
I wasn't as taken aback as I should be, because for the last 4 years, myself, others who spoke out against him have been saying literally line by line what he's saying in his own words in this piece.
Is he the future? Is he the future? Well, I gotta ask.
Yeah.
You know, that's the gig they pay me.
It is devastating to me that that is not resonating with Republicans, a party I've been a member of my whole life, that they're just not believing it.
All he says, according to her, is, "Please vote for me, put me in the White House, and keep me out of Leavenworth. Hurt. Have a sick burn, please." Nor did Sonny Hostin mince her words. She referred to Trump as morally bankrupt and questioned how any respectable woman or evangelical could back him, asking how anyone could vote for a skunk to win Perfume Seller of the Years like that. Not to be forgotten is Sarah Haynes, who noted that 14 states have complete bans with very few exceptions as a result of Trump's involvement. It feels as though we have traveled back in time to a time when repressive rules have replaced exciting things like dinosaurs. Thank you, Trump, for nothing. Whoopi's verbal assault turned out to be more than just a brilliant TV moment. Rather, it was akin to throwing a match into a powder keg of public opinion. The consequences, it was, to put it mildly, more explosive than Donald Trump's hair during a windstorm. Following Whoopi's revelation, Social media erupted like New Year's Eve in Times Square. Facebook was collapsing, Twitter was ablaze, and your neighborhood school's lunch ladies were undoubtedly chatting about it over surprise mystery meat.
Trump does rightfully acknowledge that abortion right now is a huge political loser for Republicans.
Yes.
And I want to say clearly, I want Donald Trump to lose in November, no question. And then Democrats would be able to say he supported a federal ban. Now he's punting responsibility to governors. So we're going to be talking a lot about Florida in this upcoming 6-week ban. They've showed they could separate the Republican politician from their position on abortion. So in Ohio, Kansas, and Kentucky, there have been ballot initiatives to support abortion rights, and they've supported it.
Everyone and their grandmother were taking sides in this kind of situation faster than you could say kofef. The worst part, though, is that Whoopi's remarks ignited a whole damn chicken riot rather than just stirring up a few ruffles. The View's viewership, they were clapping so loudly you would have thought they were calling upon the very spirit of democracy. This time, it was real, not just a live-action parody of those "and everybody clapped" memes. Not only the studio audience participated in the fun, though. This blew up at the high school reunion quicker than a hot rumor. Whoopi's remarks were being retweeted by liberal Twitter users like Free Avocado Toast, and they were having a field day. The collective "You Go Girl" could almost be heard over the internet. But not everyone was happy with Whoopi's takedown, so hold on to your MAGA hats, people. Fake news was being yelled by Trump's ardent supporters more quickly than you could say alternative facts.
People need to remember this when they go to the ballot boxes, because I'm comfortably in New York and comfortably past that. But I mean, my point here is there are states where women are going to need this help.
Flooded with women. Watch.
I mean, when they relocate to get the help they need.
If they can even get out of their state, because these women don't even have money to leave Texas or whatever to come to New York.
Keep in mind, if you find yourself in a position where you have to, I want to make sure, and I'm way past having kids.
It was like witnessing a group of toddlers having a temper tantrum over being informed that Santa isn't real. You may be asking yourself, so what? In the bizarre world of American politics, it's just another day. This is when the intriguing part comes in. It was more than simply Whoopi versus Trump. No, it wasn't the extent of this. This dealt with the ability of language to sway public opinion. Whoopi, you see, did more than just call out Trump. She also found a seam of resentment that had been festering like pressure within a volcano. And when she did let it go at last, it resembled seeing a live political earthquake. The crucial query is, however, what this implies for Trump's campaign. If the response to Whoopi's remarks is any indication, Trump may want to consider taking up a new pastime. Knitting, perhaps? I've heard it's rather soothing, because let's be honest, people, you may have a problem when a well-liked TV personality can make a whole studio audience cheer by calling you out on your BS. It's like attempting to sell ice to the Eskimos, only this time the ice is fake, and the Eskimos can surf the internet. And those who are raising an eyebrow aren't simply liberals. It's even causing some Republicans to become a bit uneasy. Trump's remarks about exclusively hiring supporters are causing some Republican lawmakers to perspire more than a snowman in July, as Alyssa Farah Griffin noted.